act that fool. Hit him, 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 hit him. Smash him up, watch that move. Went too swift, can't catch these dudes. Can't hit him, 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 listen, 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 hit him, listen. This Eagles talk, this talk Eagles. Philly bleed green, it's from your people. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's peep the squad. Big Pat Shell and Dante the Dark Child. Drop the stats on them, drop the facts on them. Spur game, baby, let's get it on.
Hey, fam, it's your man Dante the Dark Knight, and welcome to a very delayed post-game show. Our Philadelphia Eagles did take down the Houston Texans on Thursday night. It was a very, very late night game, so as you saw, we did not come to you guys in the post-game. But hey, the team doesn't play today, so why not? What a perfect time to do a post-game show than right now before the NFL action begins this week. We saw, I don't know how you guys felt about the last game, the game we saw on Thursday night. It was a win, so I'll take it, right? I'll take it. But there were some things that we saw that weren't so pleasant. Number one, tackling. Wow. We talk about practice. They did not tackle very well in that game and still came out with a win. So that's the bottom line for me. I'm just happy that we are 8-0, and because it had all the makings of being a trap game. I mean, it was a short week. We had 11 days off before we play again, and maybe the focus wasn't totally on or their bodies. I don't know what it is. We talked about the team being healthy, the most healthiest that they've been in the last few years. And I made a joke during the game that maybe it's because they don't sacrifice their bodies during the game. The defense is not tackling, so maybe that's why they're so healthy, because they're not out there being physical. They're not physical enough to me at the point of contact. I also will give them a pass too, because I know they were coming off, I know that short week. I don't know. I'm trying to give them excuses, but all I do know is that we cannot continue to tackle the way we did in that game if we are to go on and do big things, greater things in the playoff and the such. We can't have our defense coming out there and not bringing people down to the ground. Not bringing people down to the ground. That sound familiar? That sound a little preseasonish? That sound a little training campus? Having practice and not bringing people down to the ground. You kind of need to practice that. But hey, without further ado, let me bring my co-host here at the setup. There he is. Pat, what's up, man? Opened up talking about how this team did not do a great job tackling. We got to do a better job tackling. And I also like to issue an apology to the Houston Texans, because I made a joke in our pregame show about them not playing. They do play, as you can see. They play hard, and no, they're not on the level that we are now. But it was very, very arrogant of me to say that this NFL team does not play, because they came out and they showed us that they do play, and they didn't scare me, but they had it closer than any one of us thought that it would be. Right? They had it very close.
Yeah, they did have a close. It's because, like you said, tackling is an issue. When you have a team that features a running back such as Dameon Pierce, who's a bruising running back, one thing leads to another, and it's a close game. No way in the world should we have been on the same playing scale with the Houston Texans. But when you don't make tackles, when you turn over the football, you give bad teams an opportunity to win a football game and be in a game they should never be in. Listen, down the road, we're going to play some teams that got some great running backs. Derrick Henry, you got to tackle him. If you don't tackle him, he's going to rush for 300 yards against you. Saquon Barkley, he's a monster. Then Zeke Elliott already did 81 yards against us. So we have to be better in the phase of making the basic tackle. I understand the wrap up and strip, but let's get the man down to the ground first.
And with that being said, I think we gave up 136 yards to that running back. His name escapes me at the moment.
Dameon Pierce.
Dameon Pierce, yeah. Dameon Pierce, 136 yards. And like you just said, good point. we face some heavy hitters coming up. We face not necessarily in the Washington game, but after that we faced the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor, the best running back in the game last year. We faced Derrick Henry, like you said. We faced who else is that? Saquon Barkley down there. We face some heavy hitters, so yeah, we're going to have to tackle, and all of this is going to be before our big man in the middle comes back, Jordan Davis. He'll still be out during the stretch, most of those games there
No,
we're
he
talking about.
should be back if we do the 4-week stretch. The only game we might have an issue is the Colts game because he won't be back for that game. But for Tennessee, that'd be the first game that he could be activated off the IR.
All right. Okay. So hopefully we'll have him back. But up
Hopefully.
until then,
Hopefully.
we need to tackle somebody. You know what I'm saying? Another apology goes out to the guy that you said. What was the guy that I said, what are you talking about? What's this guy going to do? Wilson. What's his name? Wilson off the practice squad. They just called him up for that
Marvin
game.
Wilson, yeah.
Marvin Wilson. Yo, he was doing his best. Let me say, and he did make a couple of plays, and that's when I noticed his name. Like, oh, Pat might have been right. Maybe this guy can play. Let me apologize to Pat there.
He's no Jordan Davis,
but he's no Jordan Davis. Yeah. No, of course not. All right, okay. So let's start this quarter off. Look, you are watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by Eagles fans for Eagles fans, and here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite team in such a relaxed and social manner. Yeah, relaxed, social. We like to socialize and talk. That we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I am not, if you've been following the show, if you are regular to this show, then you know that this is my sober November for me. I always take November off. So I'm not doing a shot. Pat is usually always holds it down for us, but I don't know because he just walked in. You all right? Are you prepared, Pat? Oh, okay. All right. He has the Jameson. So Pat is doing the Jameson. Let me know what you guys are doing out there in preparation for this Eagle-less football Sunday here. And let's raise our drinks. And whatever you do, please drink responsibly. We're in our living room, so we can just lay down, sleep it off. So please just drink responsibly. All right. So to our Philadelphia Eagles, our victorious Philadelphia Eagles in a late post-game show. Down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the First Order.
And all right, let me go to our third co-host, and that's you guys in the room. We thank you guys for following us. And the first person in the room tonight or today is James Nook Fripp. And he says, "What's up, Bird Gang? What's up, James? Good to see you, man." Drexel Davis says, "Go Birds, go." Third person in the room, KT Thomas. "I was at the Houston game." He says, "I've never seen so many Eagle fans at a game. I've been to a lot." Yeah, it was a lot. They said that when the teams were introduced, it sounded like the link. It's so much so that when Houston was introduced, they were booing them. It was more boos than cheers. That's crazy. All right, Cheryl's in the house, and Raymond says, "What's up, fam? This is going to be a long week till next Monday." Yes, it is, man. Wow, I didn't realize that. Not only was it a Thursday game, so we weren't going to be playing today, but we don't even have a game next Sunday. It's next Monday, so we got to go 2 Sundays without Eagles football. That's torture almost. Jerome Daniel says, "Hey, Eagles Nation." What's up, Jerome? I like his profile pic. You see that? Romney says, yo, fly, Eagles fly. Cheryl puts up a heart sign. Yes. And William Steele says, "Phillies went down. The Union went down. Come on, Eagles, bring it home for us." I know. Ah, my goodness. And Eddie says, "Yeah, the Union loss was unbearable."
Yeah, it was unbearable. I mean, you know what? It's a good time to be a Philadelphia fan, especially for all these sports teams, because even though they didn't win, they had very productive seasons. They got to the championship game, which we only can hope the Eagles can get there.
Right.
But turn the tide and win. So for the Philadelphia Phillies, a lot of people didn't expect them to get there.
Right. Nobody. Yeah. Our teams overachieved this year.
So shout out to those guys. But for our Philadelphia Eagles, man, listen, if we get there, It better be a different story.
Yeah, it better be a different story. And how can it be a different story, Pat? What do you like about the game on our Thursday night there?
um, I like the resiliency. I like the team looking in the face of a team that was desperate for a win and saying, you know what, you can hit us in the face all you want, but you're still not gonna get this W. The confidence that this team had, especially the offense. Jalen Hurts actually putting the team on his back and making some outstanding throws. I really got to say to everybody out there, if you don't have the all 22 or you don't follow anybody on YouTube that does a breakdown of the games, please do so because some of these throws are throws that we talked about Jalen Hurts not having the ability or having the arm to make these throws in these open windows and generating pass lanes by moving his lanes, by moving the pocket. Yes, he ran into 3 sacks. We already talked about that. He ran into a few
Hmm.
sacks. But at the same time, this guy is his development is light years from what it was last year. And I love the way the offense actually picks the defense up. You know, when the defense that first drive, right? That first drive was terrible, Dark Knight. Like the defense was like they sleepwalking. What the hell? But the offense put together was an 18 play drive or something like that, and marched right downfield and put 7 back on the board. They gave the confidence to the defense. You know what? We have to do something. We have to go in there and make it stop. We got to stop this bleeding right now. I know we're tired. I know our bodies are banged up, but we got to help the offense win this game. And I mean, it's just the confidence level for this team in general.
Yeah, I saw that the defense they looked I don't know if it was tired. Maybe they hadn't recovered fully from the week
Hmm.
before because, like we talked about in the press and the pregame show, and like BG, Brandon Graham talks about their bodies are just ready, just recovered on Thursday,
Yeah.
and here they are. They have to play a game, and you could kind of see it on the field that they were not their regular selves. Now they kind of got better as the game went on, but when that opening drive there, when Houston ran it down our throats and scored a touchdown, yeah, that didn't look like the top 5 defense there. So I'm gonna attribute that to maybe the short week or whatever. But they got better as the game went on, and you saw the outcome. We did hold them to less than 20 points, and the offense picked it up. The offense picked it up very, very. And I always say this. I always go back to 2017, but very reminiscent of the 2017 team. Whatever unit needed a pickup, the other
Hmm.
unit did it. Like and then those days, like if this week, the offense needed to pick the defense up, right? So it's been weeks where the defense, well, not really. The offense always been good all week, all year. I can't say this
Yeah.
has been the time, but there's been situations. Let me say there's been situations in the game where the defense needed to pick the offense up in the Arizona game specifically. All right, so very reminiscent to 2017 where we had the times when the defense needed to pick the offense up, they were there, and then there was times when the offense carried the game and they picked the defense up. And when they both show up the same time in the same game, that's when you get those blowouts and those domination games. But this was one where I'm not really upset. I'm gonna let you touch on what we didn't do good, but I'm not too upset because bottom line is they showed resiliency, like you said, and they persevered and they got through these games, the games that may be trap games, the games where it's a little harder to get up for. Uh, I'm not worried as long as the outcome is a win. If the
Yeah.
outcome is a win, and if you pull yourself through, and it takes mental toughness to do that, and they showed that, they exhibited that, and they pulled that game out. So I'm okay with it. But I'll let you channel your inner Seth Joyner and tell us what did we not do very well in that
Oh,
game.
you already said it.
Oh, well, we already know about
It
this.
was it was it was tackle. It was be a dominating force on the line of scrimmage. We didn't start dominating the line of scrimmage to about the second quarter, and that's when Javon Hargrave. I got a shout out to Javon because I talked crap about him at the beginning of the season because he
Mhm.
was in the shape. But once he's now in the shape and he's looking like that all pro defensive tackle from the Rams. Truthfully, if you watch the tape of what he did against the Texans, it's outstanding. But besides the point, the defense and the special teams, all right? we get into this position where we face these players. We say, you know what, we're not gonna play up on these guys. We're gonna just sit back, let the quarterback, throw in these other knee stuff. That's not competing. Sirianni talks about competing. One of his big staples is compete every day, right? Every game, every play, every minute of the second of the hour, you have to compete, right? When you're playing your corners 7 yards off the ball against a team that's much less talented than you are, is an inferior team, you're not competing. You're conceding. All right. You're giving up at least 5 to 6 yards each play. I understand it's a short week, but you know what? Get your top-notch corners in these receivers' faces and make the quarterback, who is a terrible quarterback, throw more than 2 picks. Right now, Davis Mills shouldn't even had a touchdown in that game. Should not even have 1 touchdown in that game. He had 2. Let's be honest, Dark Knight. Right? We have to be better in the aspect of when we play these terrible quarterbacks, showing off what we have on defense. So these commentators or these haters don't come up with these benchmarks and say, "Oh, y'all played at Davis Mills. Oh, y'all played at Cooper Rush." No, this Eagles defense is dominant. It doesn't matter who we play, we're gonna whoop their ass.
Right, and that's
Tackle
what
the
I want to see.
football to the ground. Not just throw them up. Tackle to the ground. That is the most essential aspect of defense. We could talk about coverages, we could talk about bumper run, we could talk about this, we could talk about that. If you do not tackle, you lose the game.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing those aggressive bumps. That's all I could call them. Aggressive bumps where they just hit the guy. They don't wrap up. They just bump him. And they don't bring them to the ground. I'm tired. I mean, who do they think they're playing against? Like what? Like, do they think they're playing against high school? I'm thinking they think they're playing against high school guys where if they just bump them, they're going to fall down and that's going to be it. But we're playing against grown-ass men. You can't just bump them. This is bumping them, hitting them, and expecting they're going to fall down. No. You got to wrap up, and you got to take these guys to the ground. Wrap up and drive them to the ground. Tackle.
Yes, sir. Dark Knight, we're going to play against 2 of the most dominating running backs in the season in the next 3 to 4 weeks, right? Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. He's going to be healthy. He's going to play against us. They don't really throw the ball that much. Derrick Henry, it's going to be Derrick Henry in the offense. That's it. They don't throw the ball at all. So if you don't tackle, if you don't get in your system this Monday night game to say, you know what, make it an emphasis to tackle those 2 running backs, it's going to make us pay.
Yeah, they are, and that philosophy or of not being aggressive on defense, I agree with you on that. We'll talk about in the second quarter, but that's the end of the first quarter,
and that's the end of the quarter.
We thank you guys for joining us on Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by us fans, for us fans. No broadcast journalists here. It's just us fans talking football and talking about our favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, the undefeated 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles, in such a relaxed and social manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage as we break down the game the way we see it as fans. We don't need nobody break the game down. We know what we're seeing. Let's talk about it. We don't need to watch Fox and all of them. We know what football is, and we talk about it amongst ourselves. And we do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. So please, whatever you do, please drink responsibly. I'm not doing shots. This is my sober month. I'm sipping on some coffee, and I am drinking the Karma probiotic water. This is good stuff. All right, so Pat is doing the Jameson Irish whiskey. Please let me know what you're doing out there. I'm curious. How are you getting ready? Oh, I see a couple. I'll put them up on the screen after we do this. All right, so here we go to our undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, 8-0, down the hatch, 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the second quarter.
Shout out my man Raheem Hands out there. What's up? Definitely need to tackle better, he says. Kenny Davis says Hargrave. definitely played a hell of a game. Yes, he did.
Man,
And this
Hargrave
is
is a
always,
monster.
yeah, he was.
Last
And
2
this is
games is
always
5
welcome.
sacks. Yes, let me do that.
Dallas sucks. We always have time for that. Always. Bill Kroll is in the house. He says, "What's up, everyone? I'm late, but we have an issue stopping the run, and that will be an issue coming up." Yeah, we're talking about that now, Bill. We're gonna need the what's our inside joke? The snakes. We're gonna need some snakes out there or something. Ed Clinton, run defense looked completely different without number 90. Yes, it did. Eagles, man. Yes, but what happened to our run defense? I mean, like, the year we won the Super Bowl and the subsequent 2 years after that, we had like top-notch run defense. What happened to that? I don't understand.
It's difficult to pinpoint, exactly what's going wrong and what's happening. I know Jordan Davis is a big clog in that front, and that a lot of people might contribute our run defense to him being there when they do the odd man front or the 5-man front, but it's the flow to the football. A lot of our defensive guys are taking bad angles. Our defensive tackles are getting blown off the ball. In different situations, we are just, we're outnumbered to one side, and that's on the linebackers to make those calls. When you see a power side, should be shifting. You should be shifting so you're not outnumbered. You should be ready for a counter. You should be ready for the backside. I saw a play with Brandon Graham. I know you still get in the mode of being Brandon Graham. He came straight all the way down the line of scrimmage and allowed for the quarterback to do a bootleg. Like the next time that happened, Hassan Ruddick stayed home. And as a defensive end, defensive outside linebackers, you are coached. If a flow of the offense is going to one side, don't just chase it down line, because 9 times out of 10, that's a misdirection for the quarterback to either bootleg or the play is coming back to you. So you need to contain. So it's just like small stuff that's magnified right now. They didn't allow a rushing touchdown, but we still got gashed for about 138 yards from a rookie, a good-looking rookie at that. Because he's going to be one of the bright spots for Houston for years to come. But I think there's one question out there. I know you got that question from Smokey up there, but John Richard Boo Layton put up there, Pat, what about Sue to help stop with the run game?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I'm thinking about that. I thought about that. We do need some other guys, because do the actual breakdown that I saw with Fletcher Cox. The Houston Texans decided to not let Fletcher Cox be a issue in the game, and they double teamed them the majority of the game. They double teamed Fletcher Cox the majority of the game. So those sacks were Javon Hargrave got a one-on-one and stuff like that. Fletcher Cox was double teamed. If you go back, he was double teamed by either the guard, the center, the guard, or even the tackle that came down on him. Like, and they decided to say, you know what? So other teams going to see that and expose that and say, if you double Fletcher Cox, these other defensive linemen, they're only there for pass rush. They're not there for run stopping. So that is a huge issue that we need to address in this 10, 11-day off period. And I do think we need to look for some free agents like Sue, because he is a monster in that interior, even at his age.
All right, I'm coming from this where is that? I'm coming from this point of view. All right, here we go. Hank says it right here. Our defense is built to stop the pass now. Majority of the league is a pass based, and I agree with that. And that's where I think that the issues come in, is we have built a defense that can stop passing attacks, and we're formidable. As you can see, we're a top defense against the pass. So our defense is a pass stopping based defense, right? And the numbers show that that's what the league goes to the most. So we just have to survive the run. And I see the philosophy behind it. If you think about it, if our offense continues to do as well as they do, running offenses are not going to stand much of a chance, even if they are good, because once we get up 2 touchdowns on them, they have to at some point abandon the run. You know what I mean? So even if they're a strong run game, if we get up 2 touchdowns on a Tennessee, how effective is Derrick Henry going to be? You know what I'm saying? When they need to get points and they need to put points up on the board a little quicker than running the ball down the field and taking up 8-9 minutes at a clip. You know what I'm saying? So I see the gamble. I see the direction that they've the direction in which they went to build this defense, and that's to create turnovers off the passing attack, whether it's through hurrying the quarterback, getting strip sacks, getting strip fumble recoveries and interceptions. That's what our defense is built for now.
Yeah, we're a fast defense. Yeah,
we are fast defense, but we got the big guy in the middle, and when he's in there, he does help. Definitely, almost single-handedly help stop the run.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I actually saw the plan what they have. Yes, like I said, Fletcher Cox gets double teamed, and the rest of the defensive linemen are there for pass rush opportunities. And they're not there for running opportunities. Last week, right, when they had Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox in there together, like you had to double team Jordan Davis because you couldn't single cover them because Jordan Davis is understanding what it is to play defensive tackle in today's NFL. And that team couldn't do anything when Jordan Davis was in that game, right? It wasn't until he got injured where it was the issue. And I think JG, Howie, Nick realized that, yes, we built a defense for the passing league, but we needed to draft a defensive tackle to help out on the front of the Russian league that we're going to face here and there. So I see what they are trying to do to have a mix and match. On that first and second down, you have a rush defense on there. Third down, you have your pass defense on there, and you can match it because these are athletes. These are players who's going to contribute at the highest level, and I like it. And I can't wait till we are fully healthy to see the growth of the flower that was planted back during the draft.
But all right, so now that we see that, could you see that teams are going to use that blueprint to beat us? I mean, like, because I just laid out a scenario where it may not be beneficial in the long run because our offense is so dynamic. But if I guess if they come out, if other teams come out and focus on running the ball against us and make the game shorter, that's probably their best. Their best approach to try to beat this team is just make the game shorter. If they can eat up a lot of clock and limit how many times our offense is on the field, that's probably their best strategy to beating this team because I don't see any other weaknesses that we have. You just have to try to keep it out of our offense's hands because when we get on, I haven't seen a defense yet that can really stop us.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that analysis because if a team is able to run a ball and keep the time of possession in their favor, they keep our most dangerous asset off the field, which is our offense. Our offense is we haven't even got everybody involved. We haven't had a full game where we have everybody involved yet. Last week was Dallas Goedert and a little bit AJ Brown with Miles Sanders sprinkled in there, and Smitty and one catch to Quez and Pascal. It was just a sprinkle of stuff. We haven't had a full offensive game yet. That's scary just to think about that in the way the level of quarterbacking. Our quarterback is quarterbacking, son. Did I say that double entendre? So it's kind of crazy just to think about that Jalen Hurts is playing at this high level and you hasn't got everybody involved yet on an offensive level, and we're still dominating these teams. That's a scary thought if we were able to put it in together on one or two games, especially when it comes down the road in the playoffs. And you say, this team is working on all cylinders. He got to be the MVP.
Oh my God, Izzy, we're going to talk more about Jalen in the third quarter because he is. I have to piggyback on what you said in the first quarter, but he is. It's going to sound like a broken record until he proves otherwise. But he has he has elevated his game to the next level, and it is amazing to see him in action now. And he's just such a completely different looking quarterback than just a year ago. So that's the end of the second quarter.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, so you're listening to Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by Eagles fans, for Eagles fans, And you guys are a big part of the show. Thank you guys for joining in and giving us much material in the chat room. Sometimes I just grab subjects right out of talking points, right out of what you guys are talking about. So thank you guys for joining us. And we'd like to talk about our undefeated Philadelphia Eagles 8-0 in such a social and relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. Guys are letting me know what they're drinking out there. Pat is doing the Jameson Irish whiskey. Richard Boo is doing the Grey Goose and Ultra Light. Somebody else was doing the, where's that at? I forget. Somebody else was doing the, I think it was the, I forget. I can't see, I don't see it. But anyway, let me know what you're drinking out there. I'm not doing anything. Pat's doing the Jameson Irish whiskey. I'm going to just sip on my coffee. And here we go. Down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the third quarter.
All right. So, yeah, let me just. Oh, Rich Hoke is doing shots of water. Yeah, I'm doing that too, Rich. Shots of water.
I'm going to be doing that when we done the show.
All right. So yeah, getting back to Jalen Hurts, man. I know we're probably sounding like broken records because we keep talking about this guy, but man, you have to give credit where credit is due. And I can't stress enough with the improvement or the step that Jalen Hurts has taken forward this year. And it's a, I always use the analogy or the comparison of Josh Allen and his progression, because he took a giant step from year 2 to 3, and now he's the Josh Allen who he is today. And I was always saying, I don't know how big of a step that Jalen's going to take from last year to this year, but I always said if he takes that Josh Allen-esque step from 2 to 3, then we're going to be in good shape. And damn if he hasn't taken that type of step, man. The work that he has put in the offseason, you can see it is paying dividends this year. And like you said, he's been dropping dimes. And yes, when you look at the game again and just look at his pinpoint accuracy and how much more accurate he is from last year, going through his progressions, making those timely throws, the time throws where he's anticipating the receiver where he's going to be is so much better. His deep ball is a thing of beauty now when he throws that. Oh my goodness, it's on point. And one of the questions that we had was his accuracy and if he had a big enough arm. And we're seeing that the arm strength was never an issue because he's delivering. He's sprinkling the ball all. He's throwing lasers all over the place, man. And I just have to commend him on the job he's doing. And because of his progression, the offense can do the things that they're doing. Kudos again to the coaches, man, for scheming up a plan. To take advantage of what Jalen does best. And he feels so comfortable in this offense now. And the scheme is made just for him, man. It's just a fantastic thing to see this offense come together and the coaching staff. And I have to give all the credit to Sirianni, man. We talked about it. I asked the question in the pregame. Who do you give more credit to, Sirianni or Howie? And that was a tough question. It was supposed to be a tough question. Yeah, it was a tough question, but it was supposed to be a tough question. But I picked Sirianni for that reason, because although Howie gave him all the groceries and ingredients, Nick knows what to do with them. And he's doing the right things with those ingredients, and he's making a hell of a dish.
Yeah, you're straight up on point with that. It's like I can't add anything on to what you just said. But the one thing is the growth, right? It's not being acknowledged to the extent that we're acknowledging. The national media needs to acknowledge the growth in this quarterback, like they do it with Justin Herbert, like they did it with Josh Allen, like they did it with Joe Burrow. You know, the growth that Jalen Hurts has had from last year to this year is immense. It's almost a complete 360 of what it was last year. I mean, 180 from what it was last year. He looked off the cup. So the Houston Texans played a heavy cover two, Tampa 2 type defense. They blitz about 41% of the time, but they stayed in the cover two look the majority of the game. Jalen Hurts hit a corner route to Dallas Gollard that should not even had opportunity to take place because he went through his reads and he looked the safety off who had that responsibility in that zone. That's growth. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what anybody else wanted to say. If you want to go look at any other quarterbacks, these quarterbacks are looking coverages off to hit their wide open wide receivers. He's throwing with anticipation on routes that not even the receiver hasn't even broke yet. The ball is in the air, and Jack Straw turns around and gets hit right in the chest for a 12, 13-yard gain. Like, this is what we wanted last year, and we're finally getting it this year with the weapons that we always, as Eagles fans, always wanted. Listen,
Mm. All right, good question though. I like this, Hank. But I'm going to change it. Forget the best of three series. Let's just say 1-on-1, straight up one game for the Eagle Bowl. Let's call it the Eagles Bowl. Who would win? The 22 Eagles, this current Eagles team, or the 17 team, Pat? You guys
so the
answer this
17
outside.
team
Not a
had
best of three, a
ah,
Eagles Bowl, a one game Eagles Bowl. And then if you're going to say that, who is quarterback in that 17 team? We know who's going to quarterback the 22 team, but we got some other questions now. Who would quarterback that 17 Eagles team?
it got to be
We
Nick Foles.
you want to say Nick Foles? So now, all right, so all right, let's ask that question. Who would, if we're going to do an Eagles Bowl, if we're going to do a current day Eagles versus the Super Bowl team, all right, first let's establish who's going to be the quarterback. Pat says Nick Foles. Or you can pick Nick Foles or pre-injury Carson Wentz, whichever one you want. Let me take a quick poll out here. So you guys answer that right now. Who would you want to represent the 17 team
Wow.
as quarterback? The pre-injury Wentz or Nick Foles? After you answer that, once we establish the quarterback, then we'll go on and ask the question, who would win a game between the 22 team, this current team, versus the 17 team? So, all right, Nick would get it down. All right, somebody said Nick. Smokey says Wentz. So we got one for Nick, one for Wentz. Hank, who's your pick for quarterback? Rashard says Nick. He wants Nick to represent.
Wow.
Hank says he wants the pre-injury Wentz. So he would want that.
Wentz was definitely on that year. Like,
Yeah, he was on that year.
He was on a different level than any quarterback. He had 33 touchdowns when he was injured. He was the second leader in touchdowns that year to Russell Wilson, who so happily just broke about one touchdown because they decided to throw the ball more touchdowns so he can be the touchdown leader, right?
So hard.
Easy
Let me tally up the votes here. All right, one Wentz. All right, one Wentz, two Wentz, three Wentz, four Wentz, 5 Wentz.
Wentz was the problem, man.
6 Wentz. All right, so we're going to go with Wentz. All right, so Wentz, pre-injury Wentz is going to be the quarterback of the 17 team. All right, so now we're talking about Wentz is quarterback in the 17 team, playing the 2022 team. Who would win? Ed, first vote we got. Ed says 2022 would win better offense. Rich Hoke says 17 team. What do you have? All right, Pat. 22 team is Shane. All right, Pat.
So this is difficult because we're talking about a Super Bowl champion and a potential playoff contender, right? The season's still going on. We haven't even made the playoffs yet. We haven't clinched a playoff spot. We haven't even had a playoff win yet. So, as far as talent-wise, we talked about this talent-wise, right? On which name show? Talking about the talent-wise. Like, yeah, we have a lot of talent. Like, I would take our DBs right now of this team over the 17 team. But the magic that the Patrick Robinson brought to that team in the championship, the conference championship game, like, that made a whole huge difference. I don't know if Vontae Maddox got that magic like that.
Man,
I'm not
forget
sure.
Vontae. I'm gonna tell you the magic man on this team, CJ. CJ is the Pat Robertson of this team. CJ is the magic maker on this team. 5 interceptions.
But he
He
missed
had
a
5
tackle. He missed
interceptions.
3
Yes,
tackles.
but 5. We're talking about one game, but we're talking about 5 interceptions, and he had 5 interceptions in his previous 4 years total. He has 5 this year. He's the magical man. I'm leaning towards 22, and I know 17 won the Super Bowl, so we saw them take it all the way to the end. But this 20, we talk about what could the receivers from 17 do against this cornerback tandem that we have here? You understand what I'm saying? It's actually a 3-hour breakdown. Yeah, it is. But we're going to do it in about in about a couple more minutes. All right, but look, you got the receiver. I don't see the receivers. Like, where would they be able to pass the ball? We got 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks here. Now, we had some good. The cornerbacks from the 17 team played good. They played good, right? But we have corners that are playing great right now. Not good, but great. In the top, they have the best passing percentage against quarterbacks, completion percentage. You don't complete too many passes against Slay and Bradbury back there, man. So that's one thing. We got the big guy in the middle. We got more sacks, generating more turnovers. And our quarterbacks, I would have to give it a wash at this point. Even pre-injury, Wentz was an MVP candidate, probably the leading MVP candidate. Current Jalen Hurts, if not the leading candidate, he is an MVP candidate. So we have 2 quarterbacks that are dynamic. Who's going to handle the pressure more? Number one, the 22 team is getting more pressure than the 17 team got on quarterbacks that year. This is crazy. Yeah, you're right. We're going to have to do a show on this.
Stuck.
And maybe it's this Thursday because we don't have a game to review. We're reviewing the game right now, so maybe we'll table this. And once we have the whole gang here, Nichelle will be here Thursday. Maybe that'll be the topic of that show, since we're going to need something to talk about.
You know what, Dark Knight? We did at 2017. We did have better rushers. We had younger edge rushers. Derek Barnett was actually playing at a pretty good high clip. Derek BG was dominating. BG, we thought BG had double-digit sacks.
We talking about Reddick. We're talking. You comparing Barnett to Reddick.
I'm talking about a younger. We didn't know.
I mean, and we had some good linebackers there too, because Bradham was playing out his mind back then.
He was. He had that court case, but he was playing.
Yeah.
Aguilar.
Aguilar had one of his better seasons. Yeah.
Chris Long. Hold up, Chris Long though.
Oh yeah, Chris Long. Yeah, he was balling. Yeah.
Fletcher Cox was actually balling. I think he was all pro that year. So, we're looking at this team, the 2017 from 2022. If we were looking at the actual team from a standpoint of 2018.
All right, hold your thought. I want to end the quarter. All right, so you're watching Eagles.
The quarter.
Watching Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show around on Facebook. That's by Eagles fans, for Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, and we even make up little debates and stuff like we're doing now. We like to do that and do it in such a fun and relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. And Pat is holding it down for me because I'm taking the month off. He's doing the Jameson Irish whiskey. Let me know what you're doing out there, and let me know who do you think would win between the 22 Eagles versus the Super Bowl Eagles. Who do you think will win in the game? All right, so to our undefeated 22 team. The 17 team didn't go undefeated. Oh, but I'm just throwing that. All right, okay. So anyway, here we go. Down the hat. We're gonna table this discussion. I'm gonna cut this off. We're gonna table it. All right. So down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the fourth quarter.
Man, it's kind of hard to table this. I am going to table it.
Jernigan in 2017 was a monster. Timmy
Jernigan
was
your
Javon Hargraves of that time. You know, yes, let's table this.
I'm going to go
Let's
some. I'm
table
going to
this.
go to
No.
some. I can't table it because I got to go to comments now, and all the comments
Dark
about
Knight.
the
We gotta
thing.
have the whole rosters. We gotta put the rosters
I know.
side
I
by
know.
side.
We're going to. Everybody, make sure you come back on Thursday because this is going to be the topic of the show. But I just want to get these comments up there since it's out. All right, Wayne Anthony Thompson says it's kind of hard to put the genie back in the bottle now. But Wayne Anthony says 22 team is more balanced. Richard Booth says he's leaning towards the 22 team. James Nook gave the suggestion to do a show on this. Hank White says Malcolm Jenkins, I feel bad for him playing this 22 Eagles offense. Yeah, it's going to be a problem for him to handle the receiving core we have now. Shane, really the only difference is we don't have Ertz, but we have Goddard. We need to beef our running game. We need a power back on this team. Yeah, that's what they had
Blunt.
a better buddy. Yeah, they had Blunt then.
They had Clement.
They had that would be a problem.
Jay and Jai, they
with this offensive line against this run defense of the current team, that would be a problem.
Healthy, the whole team's healthy, right?
Yeah.
You forget we had Darren Sproles.
Oh yeah, Darren Sproles.
We had a prime left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's
all right. Alshon and Torrey Smith versus Bradbury Slay. I get it as the Bradbury Slay. I'm sorry. Wayne says if Aguilar starting versus Bradbury Slay, he getting shut down. Yeah, I get that. I Am Smokey did mention Chris Long. Yeah, we had to talk about that. Corey was a winner back then. Corey Clement was the MVP of the Super Bowl. If Nick doesn't get it, Corey Clement gets that.
Somebody had a question about Jake can't quick kick for both teams. It was Caleb Sturgis.
Okay,
Caleb Sturgis got injured, and that's when Jake came in. I can't remember his name, so I saw it just now.
All right, so Ertz is getting screwed. Both with the Cowgirls. That's all that matters. That's Tony Burr from Down Under says. Hank White says in 17 we had a lot of vets that were shooting their last bullets. We got prime players now. Wayne brings up the Jernigan. We had Jernigan. And Hank says he's going to be here for Thursday. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. It's going to be all right.
It's going to be crazy.
So think about it. We're going to get the starting rosters for both teams, and we're going to do a show on it. Yeah, let's do a show on that.
We had some players, dude. Like you don't remember some of these players. If I was to mention their names, you'd be like, "Who was that?" Kume Gudra Hill. He came in and kicked off in the Cowboys game because Jake Elliott was injured. Like,
it was a special team.
Then you had Apodi Vatai. They came in from Jason Peters.
All right, so we had linebackers on that team, and this is what we were talking about earlier when we said what happened to the run defense that we used to have. Well, that team from 17 had a bunch of linebackers that were more suited to stop the run. They were a little more beefier. They were more beefier. They weren't good in pass coverage though, and that's where we probably would exploit them with the 22 teams. They were better at special teams. It will be a tough game, but we're going to talk about that, man. We are definitely going to continue this conversation on Thursday about that. Yeah, Big V stepped in; he was good. Oh man, it's a lot to unfold here. But this team here going forward, here's a question where we can switch it up now. All right, so what? All right, and I was thinking about this. Let me see how I'm going to pose this question. So. There's a couple ways, but I'll go this angle. So, all right, what do you rather see in week 16? Let's say week 16, 17, we got the number one, we got the top seed sewn up. Mm-hmm. Would you rather see this team go for the undefeated season or rest the players? Mm-hmm. What's more important to you guys? It's week 16. That means we have two games to go. Games to go. And we're 15-0. We already got the number one seed sewn up. Do you want to rest the players or do you go for history?
No, go for history because you're going to score 20 points in the second quarter. All right, you put the points up and tell the defense it's your job to stop them. You cannot. We did this last week. We did this last year, and now I realize the fault of it. When you take those players out in the last game, and we played the third string against the Dallas Cowgirls, and we weren't prepared to go against Tampa Bay because the first team didn't have any reps in the real game situation. I think we need to keep that momentum to the very last moment. Like halftime of the last game, if we're up by 25 points, then you take all the starters out.
So you want to see the undefeated season now. And now this
So
is
back in the day,
I went to this because this next question, really not a question, but because I already know the answer. That's why I pivoted to that question, because this question is so easy. What's more important, the undefeated season or winning the Super Bowl?
So you got to understand something. Back in the day, there were no resting players, right?
Mm-mm.
You didn't rest players. You didn't rest.
So yeah, players played both ways back in the day.
Yeah, so back in the way, you played football. You had the 53-man roster. You had 47 people on the team. You had to play regardless of how bad the score was. It was 51-0. All right, so you took some starters out, but you still had some starters in the game. Don't rest these guys and get them complacent with your team, because there's a defensive coordinator next week that you play that gets paid to come up. The offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator gets paid to come up with plans to beat your ass. If you're not in the playing mode, that's going to be an issue. We talk about injuries all the time. Injuries is part of football. It's going to happen. But I have full trust in Howie Roseman that he's going to make the right decisions and bring the right people into this organization, that if something were to happen, we will be fine in the long run. It happened in 2017. It even happened in 2018, right? It happened last year. It happened the last year Wentz. I have trust in the organizational heads to bring these proper people in, but go for history.
Go for history. All right, but Howie's hands is a little tied right now. I mean, like, all right, the trade deadline is over. I mean, the probability of him bringing in somebody now that's going to make a huge difference goes down some. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it goes. The percentage go down a lot, because now you got to get somebody off the street, and you know what I'm saying. So what's the chances you're going to get a Pro Bowler or somebody, or I'm not going to say a Pro Bowler, because, you know what I mean, when you talk about bringing somebody in that's going to make a difference, you know what I mean, perception is it's got to be a good player just sitting out there that can do that. And if that's the case, why, you know, somebody would have picked him up. But, you know what I mean? So I'm not saying that he has already done all that he can to make this roster a Super Bowl contender. He's done all his off-season work before the season. He's done his due diligence, even at the trade deadline, picking up Robert Quinn. This team is deep, is talented. I think he's done all that he could do. I think it's up to this team and the coaches now to carry on and finish the job. He did it in 17 also. He built a strong squad. He picked up Jay Ajayi at the trade deadline, further increasing or strengthening the roster. And then as the injuries came, that roster that he put together proved to be as deep as we thought it was. And those backups came in and handled the job, Nick Foles being the number one. So I think he's done his best here. I don't know if we have a Nick Foles and Gardner, but I don't know. I don't know, but I don't want to find out. Let's just keep Jalen healthy, because I don't want to find out if he's Nick Foles. He's done a wonderful job, though. He's done a wonderful job, and we just have to carry on and finish this job here. Of course, the Super Bowl is more important than anything, but somebody pointed out here in the chat room that if you're undefeated, that's the Super Bowl. You're going to win the Super Bowl. If you go, you know what I'm saying, if you go undefeated the whole year, you're going to win the Super Bowl. That's what, 20-0, 19-0. What is it? What's it now?
21-0.
If you go 21-0?
Yeah.
No, it would be less than that because we would only have to play
You
2
got 17
games
games.
before the Super Bowl. Yeah,
You'd be
it'd be 20-0.
17-0.
You would get the bye
You get to buy
and then play 2
19,
games.
20, 21. 21-0.
Oh, 17. No, we only got 2 games. The wild card, we wouldn't play that week. Then the
No,
divisional and the
play divisional.
conference,
Yeah.
divisional conference Super Bowl. That's
Guys,
3
I've
wins.
been drinking, so you gotta understand
Oh,
something.
okay.
all
I'm
right?
like, oh,
I've
wait,
been
he
drinking.
got
It's
me
20-0.
confused. All right, 20-0.
I even
Yeah,
came up with
everybody
that
knows
is
it.
amazing.
Yeah. Roseman just needs to take a step or 2 ahead. Yes, this is how he went front office. Yeah, he definitely gets GM of the year. Regardless of what we do. Hold on, Susan. Pause. We know you love Cox. Pause, Susan. She said, all right. Okay. Kyle says actually afraid because of how well Jalen has been throwing the ball that we are going to get away from what we're good at, and that's running the ball. Thoughts? I think that we have a perfect balance at this point, and I think that I have to give all the credit to Steichen and Sirianni, whoever is getting together and putting this offensive scheme together. They have a wonderful blend of pass and run, and some of that is upon Jalen because we run so much RPO stuff. So he's actually making a decision in game, real time as to if it's going to be a run or a pass. And I think that he has enough understanding of this offense now and reading of the defense, because that was one of the things we wanted to see him get better in. And this RPO offense gives him an opportunity to read the linebackers and read the defense a little bit better. And he's making excellent choices on when to tuck that ball and run, when to give it to the running back, or when to drop back and pass it. Because our RPO is like a triple threat. Like it's not
triple
just
option.
triple option. You know what I mean? It's
literally
not
a
just
triple option.
right. So Jalen has done a fantastic job at reading what's going on out there on the field. So I think that nothing needs to be changed as long as these guys continue to break down the game and scheme as perfectly as they've been scheming for these upcoming opponents.
Yeah, definitely. Like these upcoming opponents, we have a large percentage of win percentage against these guys. The only one that we're in under 50% is the Cowgirls. So with that being said, I mean, listen, let's get our players to their goals. Let's get AJ over 1,600 receiving yards. Let's get Devontae over 1,000. Let's get Miles Sanders over 1,000. He is up there in the top 10 of rushers in the league. The respect on the league should be Jalen Hurts is the MVP of the league. I saw something earlier today, and they asked who's the front office guy of the year, and everybody point to Howie Roseman. Then they asked who should be the MVP, and they said Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? The only undefeated quarterback in the league who is balling out of control, and you barely mentioned. You had a giant player mention him. I'm not going to say.
And in all the leading categories in passing too, albeit he's not at the tippy top on passing touchdowns. But the year's not over, number one. And number two, if you look at his passing touchdown totals the past 2 weeks, he's coming around now. You know what I'm saying? Ebbs and flows. So he's passed from multiple. He has 2 multi-touchdown passing games the past 2 weeks. I think he's heating up in that area right there. So don't count him out. He's not up there with Mahomes and Allen just yet. But this season is still we still have a lot of games in the season. So, but every other category, quarterback rating, QBR, yards, everything, he's up there. So, hey, they can say what they want, but at the end of the year, they're not going to be able to deny what he's doing. Accuracy, I mean, completion percentage, 77% last game. He's doing a great job, man. So, but that's the end of this show, man. You guys Enjoy your Eagle-less Sunday here. No Eagles today. So if you got fantasy teams, I guess you're going to be looking at them a lot. So go take and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man. Pat is probably going to watch some bowling since the Eagles are off.
That's crazy because last week I watched what is it? No, on our bye week I actually was watching something. My wife was like, "What the heck? That's why they call you miscellaneous ass Pat."
Miscellaneous ass Pat. All right, guys, we out of here. I'm your man, Dr. Dark Knight, for my co-host Pat and Michelle in her absence. We'll be back 7 o'clock on Thursday, and don't miss it because we're going to talk about this more. The 22 team versus the 17 Super Bowl champion team. Who wins? Who wins in that game? We'll talk about it on Thursday. Until then, we'll see you guys. Enjoy your Sunday. We're out. Peace.
We go live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Smash him up, crack that fool. Quarterback crack, yo, sack that fool.